Yo, 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 and good evening, good afternoon, and good morning, no matter where you are in the world, no matter where your time zone is. Hope you guys are having a good week so far. Happy Tuesday! Tuesday for us means variety nights. For those of you who are not aware, usually it's either we play card building or deck building games, or we test out new titles that just came out. Either mostly indies, but sometimes some of the big titles that came out like triple A's. And so tonight we're gonna check out NieR Replicant. And hopefully, if we have some time, we'll also check out another fun game, a fun indie game called Buildings Have Feelings Too. It's quite quirky, and it's got a lot of quirkiness. It's kind of a SimCity management game, but with some fun little quirks to it added. So, NieR Replicant. Where do I start? So, it's obviously most of you, especially those that kind of followed the trends of what's been coming out from Square Enix, obviously know NieR Automata, right? Which was pretty much the sequel of the original NieR. The original NieR actually came out a long time ago. We're talking about 2010. I played that game back in 2010 on my Xbox 360, and it was quite a captivating game. Storyline is really great. Most of I would say the characters, the character building, the storyline, especially the soundtrack is amazing. But at that time, it was kind of like we were midway of the generation of the Xbox 360, and the PlayStation 3. So the expectation of graphics were really high. Thus, that was what kind of hit the game popularity, I would say, but it still became a very strong cult classic because it's technically a sort of a spin-off of the Drakengard series, also created by Square Enix. Big Joe, Habibi Wallah, Ramadan Mubarak, Habibi. So it's an interesting story because NieR actually worked weirdly. So the premise is that it came out in Japan first, and it was actually called NieR Replicant. But for some reason, the rest, the West, I would say, USA, Europe, etc., got the game, but done differently. No idea why. I never really dig that much into it, but it was mostly known as NieR Gestalt. And the difference was that so the story of the game is that you got this person, so the protagonist, so you, and you're set over thousands of years after the Drakengard series, where the whole world is Faisal Ibtim, Habibi, thanks for the follow. So years on, basically the Earth is on decay, and there's a sort of illness that a girl called Yona is inflicted with, called the Black Scroll. Now, here's the fun fact about it. Obviously, you're gonna go and try to save her and try to find a cure for her disease and whatnot. But here's the fun part. In Japan, the game sets you so as a protagonist. Here is the fun part. Fun part. The protagonist is the brother of that girl, Yona. But in the Western version, the one we got in 2010, you were the father of Yona. So it's quite. I'm not really sure. So I kind of get the attachment because it was more, I would say, during that generation, 2010. It was a bit, I would say, it looked better to have, you know, a very muscular, mature, you know, like protagonist as the at the helm of the story, instead of, you know, a more young and immature, I would say, brother that is kind of skinny and whatnot. So NieR Replicant is in a sense, bringing back the story of you being the brother. But obviously, it got a big overall for the modern days, by using the foundation of NieR Automata, which is the much more hardcore and much more graphical upgrade of the series. But in any case, the game itself is really great, and so I think the premise here is that there's gonna be don't have high expectation for this game if you've never heard of it. If you know of NieR Automata, don't compare it, because obviously it's the root of the game. It's sort of a remaster and not a remaster. Thus, one of the reason why the lead designer Yoko Taro, when he was thinking, okay, what are we gonna call this name, since it's already called NieR Replicant and people know it as NieR Replicant in Japan, what are we gonna call it in the West when we remaster it? Should we call it remaster? No, not really. It's not really remaster. Is it a remake? Not really, but not quite. So they start going into the idea of, should we go with 1.55, so like NieR Replicant 1.55, or maybe 1.22? And so they were like, oh, fuck it, let's go wild and go with a number that kind of fits in between. And thus now it's called NieR Replicant version 1.22474487139. Who the fuck is gonna memorize that, right? But in any case, it doesn't matter. You can call it NieR Replicant. That's the weird part about it. فيصل، إيش سبب أن النسخ الغربية عادة تكون مختلفة بالنسبة للمطور الياباني، حتى المحتوى لما يكون نفسه غلاف اللعبة الغربي يكون دائما مختلف بيمكن okay, I'll translate just in case there's non-Arabs in the chat, but basically Faisal Septim is asking, what's the reason behind the fact that the games and games from Japan in terms of covers, content and whatnot are a bit are sold differently in the West? And that, my friend, is because Japan's age rating and Japan's way of doing game is much different than the West. In the West, you have to take in consideration things like the North American age rating, like the SRB, and you also have to think about the PEGI age rating in Europe. So there's a lot of limitation to what can go on a cover, what can go in the game, and so it kind of plays a role about that. But also, and that's the most important part, also, the same way the West sees, let's say, a region like the Middle East and assume things about the Middle East when they're trying to sell their games, the same thing happens with Japanese developers and producer when they're trying to market their game for the West. And so thus, where I spoke about like how NieR was different in the West, because putting a young kid with his little sister and a weird creature that nobody will connect to on the cover would not really have this captivating appeal when you see it on the shelf in the store versus this big, bulky, muscular man with long hair and a huge sword. You get my vibe? Because that's the way games have been marketed in Europe and the West most of the time. And so so Japan tried to give them that so that they, in hope that they would sell more. Obviously, there's a lot of failed attempts. There's a lot that didn't work, but that's pretty much, I mean, each case is a bit different, but obviously that's the vibe behind it. In any case, it's been a lot of talking about and getting you ready about the game. I've started the game. I've started some of the early game is, I would say, possibly because again I've done it before. I've played around half of the original NieR back in 2010, and so we are looking at right now the early days. Oops, seems like I have to. Okay, just a second. Sorry, guys. Technical mishaps. At the تقريبا كم ساعة مدة اللعبة كم عمر اللعبة بمعنى آخر. I would say this game can easily go so you can go as far as like I would say a solid 40 to 50 hours, which is pretty good. It's a traditional JRPG, so it takes a lot of time. There's a shitload of side quests in the game, and they're really boring. Like a lot of FedEx delivery style of side quests. Thankfully, I know most of them. I still remember most of the boring ones, and you don't really need to do them. They don't really add much value. You could kind of follow a very linear path and follow some of the main quests, some of the smaller side quests that are interesting. There are some tiny ones that are interesting. There is also some additional little things that they've added in the game, such as there's a farming aspect that can generate you more money. There's a fishing, even though it's not really that great, but still it's there as far as I heard. So without further ado, let's get to it. We're going to continue from where I got, which is the Eyrie. And so at this point of the story, let me just stop the music because the game's music is amazing. So premise of the story so far, your sister is sick. She's got this weird plague kind of thingy. Seems like a curse or whatnot. It's called a black scroll. And your sister Yona is inflicted with this. So you're trying to figure out how to save her. While you were searching for her, because she got lost into sort of a tower-ish kind of place. Just a second. Okay. But now that she got stuck in some sort of tower, you went and saved her, and then you realized she was behind some sort of magical gate that was sealed by some sort of book and two big motorized kind of like living statue, whatnot. And then there's the enemies, the main enemies of the game that emerge. They're called not shadows, but more like it has a lot of it reminds me a lot of for some reason of Kingdom Hearts. They're called shades, so not shadows, but still the same. So they basically attack people. They're like weird demonic kind of creatures. They're just attacking you for no reason. We don't know why they're here. We don't know the origin yet of these creatures. And so you're kind of hijacked in this room. You're fighting all these creatures, and then so you decide to mash this kind of magical barrier, and thus falls the book on the floor. Turns out the book is a sort of living magical book that is known. It's called Grimoire Weiss, and here's the fun fact. Weiss is an old Yiddish and Germanic word that means white, so he's basically Grimoire White. And there is also his counterpart, which is called the Grimoire Noir. So supposedly Grimoire Noir will come is one of the reasons why there is a calamity in the world, and Grimoire Weiss is the one that needs to be restored and needs to kind of like we need to recover his verses, so like his poems, his stories, in his words into his into his pages by defeating more enemies and whatnot, and which will help you gain more abilities thanks to his magic. So we're at that stage right now. We saved your daughter. We have the book, which you can see is like kind of floating around him. He's got some fun. So far we have the first ability, which is a sort of like kind of a bullet, and if you can see, like, there's a top bar, the blue one. It's some sort of magical bar. When it runs out, basically it slowly recharges and eventually gets back to, so it's not like there's an MP level and whatnot, so it's not that crazy. Let me know if the sound is really high or not for the game music, but really, you guys, ممتاز تمام. And then the other ability, for example, is this kind of lance, or less kind of like a pike that you can fire, and then you can kind of aim and then fire it. It has an auto lock, so it's kind of eventually you'll find more what is it called, more abilities in the game as we progress. So right now we are adamant that we want to go and find more of these shades. عليه أو ترفع، لكن حاول ترفع الأداء الصوتي المحادثات الشخصيات. تمام. هلا حاليا ما في there's no conversation, there's nothing like that. And then when usually when there is a conversation, the music is actually lower in the game, so it's all good. So right now we're going to this beautiful place, and let me tell you, I've been to this place before in the original game, and it did not look like that. Again, this is still not on par with nowadays graphical, I would say, level. It's obviously not a Santa Monica game kind of level, or like an Xbox Studio kind of level, but it's really solid considering what it used to look before. And I wish I could show you actually if I can show you NieR 2010 area. I want to show you guys a little bit how the original one looked like, because it really is. Might not be able to find it, but in any case, we'll get to it if I can find more of it.
This is a weird place for a village.
How are we supposed to reach the chief's house?
So we're trying to get to the chief house because he's got some tricks, and here are the shades. So the shades are these little, there's not that many different style of shades. There's like these little gremlins, there's one with a little sword, and then there's the bosses. Bosses in this game are amazing. So you got the normal melee attack, and then here you go. So we finally we defeated one of them, and we obtained a new word for the grimoire, which is the word pa. It's to be used, it's like a rune to use with your weapon, which will add the attack power by 2%. You obtain words enable you to power up weapons and magic, like I said. So you have a dodge, which didn't exist in the original game. Thank God they added that. And you also have a nice kind of parry. So I will show you. I just want him to kind of. It's not that difficult to parry, but you gotta. It's still, like most games, you gotta time it well, and then so you can kind of do this extra damage, basically. There we go, and so 6 hits. There's a small, also like you guys noticed, there's some loots and some stuff that falls on the ground. Even though it's kind of an RPG, there's not really that crazy of a depth. Think more like NieR Automata, like I said, more like an action RPG or action JRPG. But there's some really fun parts where a similar gameplay mechanic as a bullet hell plays into a factor. So for example, you got these things like the medicinal herbs, which restore up to 30% of the user HP. You got the strength drop, which kind of like gives you an extra strength boost. Defense drop, which kind of like gives you an extra defense bubble on top of you. you for a couple of time, and then the antidote weed, for example, that cures poison. But in any case, we'll continue. Like I said, they've added a lot of gameplay mechanics just to make the game, I would say, more bearable on that front and sense, because really that was one of the weakness of the game. The gameplay wasn't that great. Everything else was amazing about the game, except the gameplay was too slow, too mechanical, too boring, and a lot of the world itself was really like had barely any feature or any sort of I would say graphical details into it. It was very flat. إلى أي تميل أكثر متحدث الغربية الكلاسيكية. I would say if you know Drakengard, the Drakengard series is exactly like that. It's a more traditional JRPG in that sense. It's not obviously not a turn-based JRPG, but it's a lot of old school fetch quests grabbing, more focus on the storyline than anything else. But obviously, because they got the help of Platinum Game, which are one of the best action RPG, or more, I would say. Whoa! I'm not focused. It helped them a lot, really, like reinforce the game. In that sense. So it's not like Dark Souls. Definitely not like Dark Souls. It is definitely not a Western RPG at all. It would, if anything, it's everything but a Western RPG. That is not really the kind of things that they produce in the West, to be honest. But yeah, you should check Drakengard, because again, like I said in the beginning of the stream, this is a sort of spin-off sequel of Drakengard, so it's still like the core lore of the story is set in the Drakengard universe. So we can pick it up. Eventually later on, we'll so there's these really fun parts. For example, here it turns into a sort of side scrolling, so you can kind of have this extra I don't know how to explain it, but this extra layer of gameplay into the game. So that's quite funny. I'm not sure why they've added that part in the game. I always wondered back when we played the original one, but still, it's an interesting thing to do, just to kind of change the pace of the game. The other thing as well to realize is that the voice acting is amazing in this version. They got a lot of people that are really known. For example, there's a later on character, so the secondary female character that will join your quest. Is played by Laura Bailey, which most of you know for a lot of other games. She was in The Last of Us 2. She was also in. She is also the voice of Jaina Proudmoore in World of Warcraft. She's been the voice of many intense characters. Long list of characters from Dragon Ball Z, the anime, Dragon Ball GT, so many, like male, females, it doesn't matter. She did it all. She's an amazing voice actress, and it's really nice to see her in that game. I've seen some parts of the story on video where you can hear her performance, and God, it is so good. من نفس عالم NieR. صح. So NieR is originally set in the world. So the origin of NieR is the world of Drakengard, or like the franchise Drakengard, which we haven't seen many game anymore since the early 90s. So this is the other kind of shades that I was telling you about. The one that has a sword. Again, like I said, they're not as original as you would expect, but you know, they're not very difficult. They're not very difficult, and they fight quite in the same kind of pattern, so you get used to it eventually with time. Let's see, where are we now? We're around this part. It's dark in here. Seems like there's a child somewhere. Where is he? Whoa. Oh shit. What? I didn't know you could fall all the way down. Alright, so we gotta get all the way to this area so we can get to the guy's little thing. You can see the hut, it's right there. We're trying to go to this part right here. Alright, Dragon Age Origins. ما بحيث لعبت RPG. Oh wow, ما كنت أعرف. Yep. It's not like Dragon Age Origin or Dragon Age in general, because Dragon Age is, I would say, more deeply RPG with all the, you know, like all the extra armors and everything you can do and the abilities, and also the turn-based system that you can activate, especially in the last one. But in general, I would say this is more of an old school 1990 Japanese RPG. It's closer to that vibe than anything else. Anything else becomes more complicated. It becomes more like a modern Final Fantasy, for example, like Final Fantasy 15 or later on. So let's try adding the what is it called? There we go. All right. So you got all these items, you got all these quests, you got all these weapons, etc. And so right now I got this. This is the only weapon I'm using right now. So it's just. It's there's not much you can do, but here's all the words right now that we know, the one I was telling you guys about. So there's these edits. So right now we have that one sword that we have, so Nirvana dagger. You can set a word to it. So if you set the word best, if you notice nothing, there's no effect here. But if you add the word var, you add a 2% guard rate, for example. If you use the word pa, you add an attack power of +2. So that's most of the depth of the word base, of the way the words work and how the abilities work in this game. All right. Guess we found a melon seed. Not sure what that does, but we'll figure it out. Alright, seems like I'm not going the right way. It seems like there is a sort of staircase here that we're gonna take. Alright, here we go. The original Dragon Age was the best, I would say. Maybe the last one was kind of, I would say, controversial, but nothing really that is bad. Like it's different. That's for sure. It's different from the original days of Dragon Age. It's obviously. There we go. So here's the part I was telling you guys about. The part that is very much like a bullet hell. So you could fight against them with your own bullets as well, to kind of go around it, go around that bullet hell sequence of these. So as you can see, there's more tutorials that are being unlocked as we're progressing in the story and defeating more enemies and more shades. Love that. Look at this. Look at this mayhem. There we go. Alright, we're getting closer. This is the house that we've been trying to get to. So we're almost there. Oof.
I'm looking for someone who knows about the sealed verses.
You're just like her. Like kindly.
Well, this appears to be a glorious waste of
So this is the voice of Grimoire Voice. Grimoire Voice is also the voice actor is quite known. It's if I remember correctly. Whoop. Sorry, I was just gonna double check the name, but I think it's someone quite known. Yep, it's Liam O'Brien, and if you guys are familiar with his work, he's done a lot of other games as well, and a lot of other animes and an action movie as well in his career. So there we go. How we there we go. Here's the stair. So for example, Liam O'Brien. If you guys remember, if you guys have remember what is it called? Kingdom of Amalur. He plays the voice of Asir. If you guys remember, he's played a bunch of voices in The Last of Us 2. He's also in Legend of the Runeterra. He's the voice of War in Darksider Genesis. He's also the veteran Porter AI voice in Death Stranding and multiple. So there's a lot of good casting, but mostly he's mostly known for all his TV work as well. All right, so here we are, and I like this thing about the game as well. There's a really fun way of how they're playing, because obviously words and text plays a big part in this game, but they created an actual like sort of alphabet to kind of mimic that part of it.
Well, we're...
So village chief, wait, listen to enough. Leave this village once and never return.
pathetic bunch of a rabble.
All right, so it seems like we cannot.
What?
All right, so it seems like we gotta
It would
leave.
appear there are no powerful shades here. The sealed verses would never be found in such a place.
Yeah. Let's go talk to Popola and figure
All
out
right.
a new plan.
So this is one of the few things that are also extremely, I would say, painful about this game. There's a lot of backtracking. So right now we did all this, we fought all these little enemies, and now we gotta go all the way back to your village. So just use a shortcut because I can't be bothered to do the whole round. And there is no quick travel, so good old JRPG days. No quick travel, no ways of like making sure that you move from one section to the other, and obviously good old manual saves. But still, they give you back your they're in shape of a sort of mailbox, and again, like you see, there's these little characters because it's like, kind of like you're writing a letter as well, in that sense. So we're gonna have to go back to the first part that you discovered the game, which is the village of the protagonist, which doesn't have a name. You give him the name that you want. So in my case, I just gave him my name. So Nazi, the heck is that? All right, let's see. Yo, Rahaf, ya hayati. Oof. hello, Rahaf raid. Ah! Thank you again. Thank you, Rahaf. Thank you. Faisal, don't worry about it. There is no harm in asking question. I'm here to showcase the game anyway for you guys. Hello, all Rahaf peeps. Welcome to the gang. We're playing NieR Replicant version 1.22457. I don't know how many fucking numbers there is, but whatever, it doesn't matter. It's all good. Dark Souls. Dark Souls is good. I just don't have the patience for it anymore. Not nowadays. I tend to be a bit toxic playing these kind of games. For all of you new followers, just a quick round of thank you, Crippy, OW, thank you, Real Fa, thank you. I would say this is 8 much. I don't know how to pronounce those letters anymore. I know that the 7 is a h, the 3 is a I forgot the rest. And Phantom XX, thank you, and of course Rahaf, thank you, our queen, benevolent queen. All right, let's see. Let's see what's going on here.
Nice flowers.
Elder Scroll. Wallahi, Elder Scroll is an interesting thing because I used to work during the Skyrim days with Bethesda, and I worked on the Elder Scroll Online as well for a short period of time. The problem with Elder Scroll is during that time I was still playing a lot of World of Warcraft, so I couldn't get that much in depth. But Skyrim, I got you, boy. You're kidding.
Hands off the flowers.
There we go. So this is the new character that I was telling you guys about. So this is the one that is played by Laura Bailey. So again, this is Kaine. Obviously, as you would expect from a very traditional JRPG bloody game, there's a lot of over-sexualization of characters, but it doesn't really matter at this stage. I think we got way more than that, but you guys must know Laura Bailey. She's Kaz from Gears 5. She was Abby in The Last of Us 2 as some example, and she's also what is it called? Our beloved Jaina Proudmoore for the Alliance, the voice of Jaina Proudmoore ever since I think the Lich King days. All right, let's see. Why is she still blocking? Oof.
Bitch, I knew this would happen.
Son of a bitch.
Did we get her?
Swearing in front of the kids. You see what I mean? Like, seriously. Like, what is she wearing? Like, how is this a logical kind of attire to be in battle? Cool swords though. I like these little double machete with like little scissor fang, but still. There we go. So sorry to break it to you guys, but she will eventually join your party. Oh, there we go. Oh, she is fighting now. Oh, of course she wields magic. Al-Qadim and win the Lich King. Lightweight for mobility. Wallah. No, but seriously, there we go. This is some of my favorite stuff about the game, about NieR, Replicant, and even from the original days of the first NieR. Boss fights are bonkers and so much fun. So this is technically the second boss fight, I would say, in the whole game. There we go.
Oh, come on. Are you serious?
And so this is what I love about this game. The whole part of how they've added this kind of bullet hell kind of vibe to the game as well, because obviously you can also do magic with your book, so the Grimoire Waste. So she's wielding magic. We're gonna try to target the hands. Whoa, okay. So there is those shockwaves. There we go. Ooh, there we go. So fun fact, I've told it to the guys that were in the that came earlier in the stream. This game has some quite interesting, I would say, mechanics as well. But the original game never had this kind of a dodge ability. So it was really painful to get away from all these because like it was really crude. We're talking about like 2010 kind of
I
games.
didn't know shades could get
Whoa.
that big.
The
Okay,
scales
get,
this one is like
get
nothing
rid of
we've encountered
these
before.
quickly.
Ready your guard.
Okay, there we go. And get rid of these ones. And there we go. Now we can focus on the boss.
Die, die, die! I'm gonna pull out your teeth and cram them up your ass!
Oof. She is a bad mouth, eh? Oof.
Let's just focus on defeating this thing.
Nope. Nope. He's got a pimple. He's got a pimple on his hand. Alright, so we got a little, and boom! Shoot the lance. Alright. So we gotta wait until the magic abilities recharge. Get rid of these little minions. There we go. And then get one nice strong lance. Boom. Another one. Oh shit. Ooh. Again, for those of you that played probably NieR Automata, don't compare this game to NieR Automata. It is not the same level, obviously, because this is more of a sort of remaster or kind of between a remake and a remaster. They're basically re-offering us the version that was released in Japan, because originally in the game, when we played it originally in 2010, so the first NieR, you don't play the role of this boy. You play the role of an older man who is the father of who you're trying to save, this little girl. In this case, now in the original game, so NieR Replicant, you are her brother. I wouldn't say it's a reboot, because a reboot would mean like drastically change it and add more content. It wasn't to that level of. It's not a remaster, because also it's not like completely redone on a graphical point of view, and it's not thus why they wanted to call it this weird name, which is Replicant version 1.2244739, whatever, how many number.
This one has been possessed by a shade. She exists as neither fully human nor other.
Alright, so she's half-half. Half-half.
I feel bad for treating her like one of those things. We have to help her.
Alright. Dark Hand. Pummel foes. Okay, so this is a new ability that we learned. It's kind of like a big hand that kind of comes out of your grimoire and kind of like punch through. Again, like we say in Arabic, ma fi haraq. There is no, we're not ruining really much. This is still the very early part of the game, so we're talking about around 40 minutes in the game, some sort.
We attacked you. We thought you were a shade.
Oh, you're half right. Now get the hell out of here.
Now see here. We made our apologies and came to your aid.
I love the voice of that
Least you can
grimoire.
do is grace us with your name.
It's okay, Vice. She's probably just exhausted.
My name's Kaine.
Kaine.
Ah, the name we heard back in the village.
Look, nothing good is gonna happen if you stick with me. So do like I said and go.
Alright.
Get lost.
Nope. Alright.
Oh, and one more thing. That monster back there, it's Mother.
Alright. Seemed we didn't beat it. He just.
A half human and a giant shade.
She's kind of pretty, but she's really intense.
She's kind of pretty, but really intense. La 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 la. La 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 la. All right. So now we gotta go next step. So either we can go talk to the villagers. The village is what is it called? Kind of like leader, if you want, or you go back to your sister and check on her and see how she's been doing, because she's inflicted with this weird disease and whatnot.
I'm worried about Yo.
But you would think by deciding that, it would mean that you would go and potentially, fast travel, but that's not the case. There is no such thing as fast travel. It's painful. The world is quite large. I mean, not dramatically large, but still quite hefty for you to kind of roam around all the time. But like there is like a couple of little things to do here and there, but like really don't expect like crazy open world kind of settings when it comes to going through the land and discovering it and etc. Just my recommendation for you guys, especially those that are not used to like really old classical RPG games, is that don't try to do everything. It will overwhelm you. There is so much content that is not really needed. So you got to think about prioritizing, really, and it's also because a lot of the quests in this game, especially the side quests, are a lot of like, as I call them, like FedEx style quest. Like do this, get it to this place, and come back to that place. So a lot of like going back and where you're just a bloody messenger, and it's quite boring and tedious, and there's not really any big advantages at finishing these ones. It's quite rare for them to actually give you anything that is solid in terms of items or loot and whatnot. All right, we'll finish to that point, play, I would say, roughly 10 minutes, and then probably take a short break, and I will transition to another game that I've been quite, I would say, curious to play. It's a game called Buildings Have Feelings Too. It's a little indie games, kind of like, almost think about like as if, what if you were playing SimCity, but instead of being the mayor, you're the actual building and helping other buildings and neighborhood to rebuild themselves and get better. It's quite interesting. It's got a lot of witty humor and whatnot. Quite a fast paced game, I would say, in that sense. But we'll get to that. Probably won't take that long to show you guys the game, because again, today is Tuesday, so it's all about showcasing new fresh title that came out in the recent 7-ish days.
Yona, what is it?
So this is the sister in the original NieR that we played in the West in 2010. It would be your daughter. So Yona, she's sick. She's got this weird disease. Kind of almost feels like a curse from the decay of the earth, which is called the Black Scroll. Nobody knows how to beat it. Nobody knows how to cure it. But it seems like now that he's got the help of this grimoire that follows him everywhere, it seems like that grimoire is connected to that disease in the sense that it could potentially regain its full ability to revive and cure his sister.
It hurts.
Oh, Yona. I'll go get some medicine, okay? Just hang on.
Wait.
What is it?
Just don't do anything dangerous.
Stop worrying already.
Alright, so that is the sister. The second key character that we're gonna have to go check on is probably the
Black Scroll appears to be advancing at a furious rate.
She needs something to stop her pain. Let's see if Popola...
Alright, so Popola is the second character that I was telling you guys about. She's in this huge library right here. I'm not sure if she's the mayor or the leader of the city, or the little village. I'm not also sure why there is a massive library here, but again, this is Earth post a lot of decay and a lot of advancement. That's why you see like some of the settings look like kind of our modern days but destroyed, and so we're talking about potentially, let's say, what would happen to humanity if some big calamity hits us, and then 3,000 years later, this is all there is left. So it kind of makes sense. This place could have probably been a much bigger city where some of the big structure are still around. All right. Let's see. So this is Popola. Also, Popola is also is played by a quite known actress. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, let me just double check on that end. But I think it is also someone that is on the cast of, if you guys watch or watch any sort of, nope, she doesn't seem to show. Yep, Eden Regal. So Eden Regal, funny enough, is in a lot of weird movies, including American Pie. She's also in The Lion Guard, which was a spin-off of The Lion King. She played as well a lot. She is the voice of Coco Bandicoot in the last Crash Bandicoot 4. It's about time, sorry.
Hey, Popola.
You might notice right now,
Pain medicine?
It's
kind of not the same tone, but still. She's also in Persona 5. She's also in Final Fantasy 8. Played a couple of smaller roles in Persona 5 and 4, Strikers and Royal, in Fire Emblem. So many known, like, Japanese games that have been brought back to the West for the
That poor girl.
for the region.
Well, I guess we could try a shaman
A
fish.
shaman fish.
What's that?
It's a fish found near seafront. Their livers contain a chemical that's...
That sounds perfect. How do I get there?
Alright, seems we're gonna go fishing, which is something they added in this game. It's quite a just. It seems like, as far as I heard from some of my friends that have also played the original one, it's really boring. We're not talking about Final Fantasy 15 kind of style of fishing with like very meticulous depth in it, I would say. So it's just a quick way. Sorry guys, it's been a long day. It's a quick way to add some side kind of missions and side stories, just to kind of make you invest more time in the game. Alright, so we're going to that village, so we gotta take that bridge. So it seems also these villages were like remnants from things that might have happened back in the days. If you notice, there is a lot of extra, I would say, little features, kind of look like almost semi-medieval. It's exactly what you would expect if you were, if you were to be in position where, ooh, chicken, can we attack them? Nope. The sword is mightier than the chicken. So, if you were to ask me, for example, should I buy this game? Or I like RPGs, I like Japanese RPGs, should I buy this game? Jesus Christ. What? Aren't you a feisty deer? Wow, that was a lot of damage, man. Alright, well, at least we get to carve some meat out of it, so who cares? Venison is the name for deer meat. Look at these bad boys.
Damn shades, go away! That villager is under attack.
Oh no. Whoa, okay. rid of the smaller one because they're much more agile and can quite
Die, you foul beast!
swarm you. So yeah, to get back to what we're talking about, should I buy this game or not? So that is a bit of a tricky question. Because it falls into, I would say, 3 categories. First, the easiest one. If you've played NieR Automata and loved the shit out of it, I would say definitely buy this game. Because one, this is the, if you were to talk about it, this is the prequel. This is the origin of NieR Automata. This is what built the foundation of NieR Automata. But don't prepare your expectation to be ready that this is not the same level of graphic fidelity and performance as NieR Automata. NieR Automata has been built on a completely different and more modern engine, and obviously, and with the help of flattening the game, the gameplay is even smoother. Now, if you are someone that plays a lot of JRPGs, especially classical JRPGs, this is a cult game. If you've never played the one in 2010 and coming in with this game, you will play the kind of JRPGs you would expect from that late 90s all the way to late 2010. A lot of grind, a lot of long pace character development, especially in the beginning of the game, but it really pays off in the end because the storyline is great. It's a lot of like lyrical, there's a lot of sad moment, etc. But there's also a lot of wittiness and almost, in a sense, some parts are almost like as a parody to the JRPG genre, which are quite quirky. The last class of people that you might be is that I don't know anything about NieR Replicant or NieR Automata, and I don't really play JRPG. Then my answer is probably don't buy this game, mainly because we're in 2021. You would expect the kind of graphical engine and performance of a 2021 game, yet this is not really that. This is something, this is completely enhanced. It plays nothing like the 2010 game, but it's still, not that expectation. So if you are just let's say a passerby in terms of that genre, don't really bother unless you get it a loan from a friend or something like that, or eventually it ends up somewhere like on Game Pass or whatnot.
Things are getting here.
Alright, so we got a new weapon. I like new weapon. It's quite interesting that you have to go through your direct... Oh, I forgot how you change this again. Magical abilities, nope. Yeah, you gotta go here, weapons, there you go, all, and here's the Moonrise. So Moonrise got a slightly better damage, and I'm gonna add some words on it as well. There we go, and here we go, and done. Let's boost the power. And done that, because that's most of what you can do. Cool sword though, kind of funky. That bloody deer that just kick you in the back if you come from behind. But yeah, once we find a safe spot, we'll save, and then we'll transition to the next game. Take a short break. Hope you guys will stick around. I know it is in some part of the Middle East it's starting to get late. It's like around 9 or 10 depending on where you are, but in any case, ahla sahla if you're a lurker and just listening to me in the background. I don't mind at all. I've done this for years, whether it's on a podcast or I've done YouTube videos or I've done streams in the past 2 to 3 years and some I would say, TV shows. Ooh, nice city. Kind of looks like a typical Greek city. Interesting, with a weird minaret, almost like a Arabic Ottoman influence. Funky. It definitely looks better than the the original. Alright, who's this old lady and why
What if
is there so much
he returns today?
Focus?
Can't let the lighthouse stay dark.
So you see, like in the background, there's like these kind of like highways that have been destroyed, and so obviously this is again another call out to what could have been, what that city could have been back in the hey, who knows, it could have been bloody San Francisco for all we care.
What should we do? I don't even know what one looks like, so...
Perhaps we could try asking some of the townspeople for advice.
We could try asking some of the townspeople for advice.
Works for me. Heck, we might...
Alright, so probably we got different choices where we could either fish for the... but right now our priority is to find a safe spot and... maybe there's no map yet.
Fish is great for your health, but you
There we go, here's a safe spot. Nope. That is not a safe spot. That is probably a quest.
Huh? Shaman fish? Oh, sure. But I won't do it for you. And you can't catch them here at the pier.
Alright, so he gave me a rod and I'm gonna go fish right now. Alright.
Let's head over to that beach the fisherman mentioned.
Alright. Seems like we got some more materials for later on. You know, I think we all do that when we find a sort of ability or some sort of gameplay mechanic that makes you go faster. Alright. So what are these guys doing? Look at them. So cool. Can I eat it? Nope, we cannot eat the seals. Alright, we got just one lure. There we go. So my assumption is that once it baits...
When the fishing pole makes a large movement, you...
Yeah,
Alright. Okay. I need to move my body. Okay. Nope, too fast. Alright. Ugh. I hate all these fishing mini games, man. Even I used to hate the ones in Animal Crossing. Pissed me off every time. There we go. Yep, that's exactly what I expected. You gotta direct it a la Final Fantasy. There we go. What fish is that? There we go. We got a shaman fish. There's also shaman fish records.
we're all set. Let's get this back to Yona.
All right. And as you can see, another boring, long ass fetching quest just to get one bloody fish. Okay, you're tired, but what does that add?
Hold it! I...
Yes, hello, old lady.
How can you just ignore an old woman in need?
How dare.
Oh, the children of this age are nothing but selfish, heartless
Del
cats.
Sette.
Are you talking about me?
Oh, ignore her. People like that are best left to their own
It's true,
devices.
it's true. It's probably a very boring subquest.
What's wrong?
My illness has returned. It must have been the shock of...
Rude! Book! Oh, see here, madam. I'll have you know.
that I am Grimoire Weiss.
You did this. Oh, what?
Why, you insolent crone! How dare
Vice, knock it up.
You there! Would you truly abandon a pitiful old woman to this cruel world?
Are you asking me? Oh, do please ask me.
Fine.
How can we help?
Oh, good heavens!
Our apologies, ma'am.
I am at a loss as to what aid we could possibly give a woman who is so clearly able.
I need you to go to the post office and tell them to deliver my mail.
I can't fathom why they haven't been here yet.
The pain!
Okay, we're going.
Alright. We're going. We're gonna get you your mail, sister. Jesus Christ. Oops, I think we went the wrong way. Yeah, we went towards the lighthouse. Alright. Just wanna. It's always like that when we get to this situation. You're like, okay, I've had enough. I wanna save. And of course, the closest save is like at the far-fetched end of the galaxy, and you gotta take your sweet time to get there. Oh, I found a safe spot. Yes. There we go. Alright, cool guys. We'll take a very short break. In the meantime, you guys can rejoice to some playful music from our Spotify from DJ King Ozymandias.